Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're looking at understanding your true potential, diving right into Dr. Miles Monroe's absolute game changer of an analysis. If you've ever felt stuck or kind of just wondered if there's more in the tank, we're going to completely redefine how you view your own abilities. We're unpacking the core idea from Chapter 1 of the source material, the fact that literally everything in life has hidden potential.
Okay, let's kick things off with a question that's probably going to upend everything you've ever been taught about personal growth. What is the absolute greatest enemy of your future? Now, most of us would jump straight to failure, right? Or maybe a lack of money, or just plain old fear. But the source text presents a radically different answer, and it forces us to really look inward and evaluate how we're actually measuring our own progress.
To get to that answer, we need to get our definitions straight. The author hits us with this powerful quote: "Potential is not what you have done, but what you are yet able to do." That right there immediately dismantles the illusion that your past wins are any sort of accurate measure of your true ceiling. Think about that for a second. The argument here is that whatever you've already successfully pulled off, that's no longer your potential. It's just history. True potential demands that we look forward, basically ignoring the finish lines we've already crossed. So, what is potential? It's dormant ability, reserved power, untapped strength, and capped capability. The crucial point here is that your potential represents absolutely everything you can be, but just haven't become yet. It's reserved power that's literally just lying there, completely unused. Think of it like your smartphone when it's stuck on low power mode. The hardware is capable of so much more, but it's restricted. The author stresses that inside every single person, yeah, that means you, no matter where you are in life right now, there is this massive, vast reservoir of unexposed ability. What you see in the mirror isn't all there is to you, it's just what you've become, so far. The author frames this as the potential principle. We have a fact, holding a single seed, versus the truth, holding an entire forest. It's asking us to look past the obvious physical facts. It uses this brilliant analogy. If I hold a tiny little seed in my hand and ask you what it is, the factual, literal answer is, well, it's a seed. But if you truly understand its nature, the deep truth is that I am actually holding an entire forest. And that brings us to the infinite seed concept. We've got a tree inside a seed, fruit inside that tree, seeds inside the fruit, and a forest waiting to be born. This perfectly illustrates the nesting doll nature of potential. What we see on the surface is never the whole shebang. Look at how it maps out. Inside that single seed is a tree. Inside that tree is fruit. Inside the fruit are more seeds, and inside those are more trees. It's a literal forest waiting to happen. The source material argues that, by design, the seed of each thing is planted within itself. And guess what? You operate on that exact same principle. Now here is a reality check. Nothing is instant. It's so vital to understand this premise. The universe operates through potential, not instant gratification. I know, we live in a world where we want everything yesterday, right? But the text reminds us that nothing in life actually works like that. When the world was populated according to the analysis, it didn't just instantly spawn billions of people. It started with one seed, one person who contained the hidden potential for all the billions of people walking the earth today. Which leads us to the process of growth. 1, start as a dormant seed. 2, enter the process of time. 3, speed up the process, which is essentially a miracle. And 4, manifest the potential. The book makes a wild point here. Even what we consider to be these sudden, shocking miracles are really just natural processes of growth that have been purposefully sped up. You always start as a dormant seed, you have to enter that necessary process of time and work, and eventually you manifest the potential. Everything begins as potential and has to be worked into reality. It takes patience, it takes action, and it takes realizing that your current situation is just one phase in a much, much larger process. Okay, remember that question we asked at the very beginning? Get ready for this, because the answer is a total curveball. The greatest enemy of your potential is success. Yeah, the very thing we are all desperately striving to achieve is actually the biggest threat to our ongoing progress. It isn't failure, it's success. The source text makes this incredibly bold claim that the greatest threat to your future is your last successful accomplishment. Why? Because when we succeed, we tend to hit the brakes. We sit back and think, awesome, I've finally arrived. And that is a massive human trap. The quote here says it perfectly. The minute we begin to settle down and be satisfied with what we have, we lose the possibility of revealing what is really inside us. Resting on our past laurels essentially tricks us into capping our own capabilities forever. The very second we get comfortable, the minute we become totally satisfied with that new promotion or that degree or that business we just launched,
we put a giant lid right on top of our potential. The author actually warns that we become like batteries in a radio that's never turned on. Our remaining power is completely wasted, just because we accepted right now as our final destination. Suppose Shakespeare died before writing Macbeth, or Michelangelo before painting the Sistine Chapel. Just think about the immense beauty, the wisdom, the sheer innovation the world would have lost if these incredible individuals had simply retired after their very first big win. What if Shakespeare wrote one decent play, called it a day, and never gave us Macbeth? What if Michelangelo sculpted David, decided, yep, I'm a success now, and refused to paint the Sistine Chapel? They would have died with those absolute masterpieces still trapped inside them as unfulfilled potential. It's a crazy thought. And that brings us to what is easily one of the most sobering claims in the entire text. The wealthiest place on Earth? The graveyard. The richest deposits on our planet aren't the oil fields in the Middle East or the gold mines in South Africa. No, the wealthiest spot on this planet is literally just a few blocks from your house. It's your local cemetery. Because what are the treasures buried in the graveyard? Dreams that never came to pass, songs that were never sung, books that were never written, visions that never became reality, and inventions that were never designed. Our graveyards are tragically overflowing with this vast, immeasurable wealth of potential that remained totally untapped and unused by the people who carried it. Buried right beneath the soil are all those unwritten books and undiscovered cures. The author laments that only a tiny, tiny fraction of people on this planet will ever experience a significant portion of their true potential. Everyone else will just end up contributing to the immense, untapped wealth of the cemetery. The source material then flips this whole concept into a deeply personal challenge for you. What would the world have lost if you had not been born? I want you to really take that personally, because the text suggests you carry very specific resources that are quite literally designed for the good of the world. Your life isn't just a solo journey. It's a necessary component of humanity's progress. So the follow-up question is, what will the world lack because you failed to live out your potential? The author takes a pretty hard stance here. If we settle into complacency right now, we are essentially robbing the next generation of our buried gifts. The argument is that there are businesses, poems, and inventions residing inside you right this very second that are fully intended for future generations to enjoy. If you let the fear of failure, or honestly worse, the comfort of your latest success, stop you from pushing forward, the world will permanently lack what you are supposed to provide. The source material absolutely does not pull any punches here. To die with ability is irresponsible. It lays down this heavy moral responsibility we all share to fully exhaust our talents while we're still breathing. It's a striking phrase, right? It frames the pursuit of your potential not just as some nice self-help goal, but as a fundamental duty. The core argument is that you are basically a steward of the dormant abilities you possess, and your main mandate in life is to deploy every single one of them before your time is up. So we're left with this final thought. You have no right to die with my things. Release your ability before you die. The text leaves us with this incredibly urgent challenge to fundamentally shift our paradigm. Refuse to settle for yesterday's wins. Make absolutely sure that you die empty. The author bluntly states that humanity is owed the gifts you have inside. So based on this whole exploration into the true definition of potential, what is the forest waiting inside your seed? And what exactly are you going to do today to make sure it sees the light?